Mastering Anger through Musashi's Way Introduction. The demon you feed, there's a demon living inside you. It's not the cartoonish red creature with horns and a pitchfork, grinning wickedly as it tempts you to sin. This demon is far more insidious, far more human, and far more familiar. It's the anger that simmers in your gut when someone disrespects you, the burning in your chest when life doesn't go your way, the explosive rage that erupts and leaves relationships in ruins, friendships shattered, and your own peace destroyed. This demon doesn't just make you weak, it makes you predictable, controllable, and vulnerable. Every time you give into it, you feed it, letting it grow stronger, tighter, more entwined with who you are. But what if you could kill this demon? What if you could bury it, walk through the fire of life with calm, unyielding eyes while everyone else around you screams in chaos? Miyamoto Musashi, arguably the most dangerous man to ever walk Japan, did exactly that. He wasn't just a swordsman. He was a war machine cloaked in silence, a man who fought over 60 life-or-death duels and never lost. His secret wasn't speed, strength, or even skill alone. It was his mastery over emotion. His ability to remain utterly still in the face of provocation, chaos, and death. Musashi didn't just defeat opponents. He defeated the demon of anger within himself, and in doing so, he became a legend. This isn't a fairy tale or a dusty history lesson. It's a blueprint, a way to destroy the anger that controls you and replace it with the unshakable calm of a warrior. In the pages that follow, you'll learn Musashi's way step by step. You'll see how he cut the puppet strings of emotion, how he trained his mind to be a blade, and how you can do the same. This is about real power, not the fleeting rush of rage, but the enduring strength of a man who cannot be broken. Let's begin point 1. Anger is a puppet string, and you're the toy. Let's start with a brutal truth. Anger doesn't make you powerful, it makes you owned. Every time you lash out, every time you explode, every time someone pushes your buttons and you react, you're handing them your leash. You're showing the world exactly how to control you. That coworker who knows just what to say to set you off, they own you. That driver who cuts you off in traffic, making your blood boil, they own you. The friend who disrespects you, sparking a shouting match, they own you. Anger is a signal, a neon sign flashing your weaknesses to anyone paying attention. And the worst part? You're the one tying the noose. Miyamoto Musashi understood this better than anyone. Born in 1584 in Japan's Harima province, Musashi grew up in a world of violence where samurai lived and died by the sword. Duels were common, and a single misstep could mean death. In this brutal environment, Musashi realized early on that anger wasn't strength, it was a chain. It was a reflex that made men predictable, manipulable, and easy to defeat. A man who could be provoked was a man who could be destroyed. Musashi's insight aligns with the wisdom of another great mind, Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, who wrote, "When you are disturbed by external things, it is not they that trouble you, but your own judgment of them." Read that again. The insult, the disrespect, the unfairness, they don't make you angry. Your reaction to them does. Your judgment, your interpretation, your decision to let those external events pierce your calm, these are what give anger its power. If someone can make you angry, they can make you do anything. You're not in control. You're a puppet, and your emotions are the strings. Musashi cut those strings. He trained himself to become immune to provocation, to walk into battle with the same stillness you'd expect from a monk meditating in a temple. No matter what insults were hurled at him, no matter how brutal the fight, he remained cold, calculating, and untouchable. This wasn't because he lacked emotions. Musashi was human, not a machine. But he refused to let those emotions dictate his actions. He chose to be the master, not the slave. This refusal to be controlled is what made Musashi terrifying. In a duel, most swordsmen relied on speed, strength, or technique. Musashi relied on his mind. He was unpredictable because he had no emotional triggers. No taunt could unsettle him. No insult could shake his focus. No threat could break his resolve. A man with no strings to pull is a man you cannot manipulate, threaten, or defeat. That is real power. To understand this, consider a modern example. Imagine you're in a heated argument at work. Your colleague criticizes your project, dismissing your hard work in front of the team. Your heart races, your fists clench, and you feel the urge to fire back, to defend your honor, to put them in their place. But what happens if you do? You escalate the conflict, lose your composure, and show everyone in the room that you can be rattled. You've just given your colleague the upper hand, not because they're right, but because they've provoked you into reacting. Now imagine you pause, take a breath, and respond with calm, measured words. Or better yet, you say nothing at all, letting their words hang in the air. Suddenly, the power shifts. They're the one who looks unhinged while you remain in control. This is Musashi's way. It's not about suppressing anger or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about recognizing that anger is a choice, a reaction you can choose not to indulge. By training yourself to remain still in the face of provocation, you become untouchable. You become the one who cannot be controlled. And in a world where everyone is scrambling for power, that is the ultimate strength. 2. The day Musashi killed. Anger. To understand how Musashi mastered his emotions, let's travel back to a pivotal moment in his life, a story not widely known but deeply revealing. When Musashi was still young, barely out of his teens, he challenged one of the finest swordsmen in Japan, Arima Keihei. Arima was a master of the Shintoru school of swordsmanship, a man of skill, confidence, and formality. He expected a traditional duel, a clash of steel between two samurai bound by honor and ritual. Musashi, however, had other plans. When the day of the duel arrived, Musashi showed up not with a katana, but with a wooden bakken, a training sword carved from a simple piece of wood. Arima, dressed in his finest samurai attire, laughed at the sight. He mocked Musashi, taunting him for his lack of respect, his audacity to face a master with a mere stick. The crowd likely joined in, jeering at the young, unkempt challenger. Most men would have cracked under the pressure. Most would have felt the sting of humiliation, the urge to lash out, to prove themselves with a reckless swing or heated retort. Musashi did none of these things. Instead, he stood still, quiet, calculating. His eyes, according to accounts, were like pools of dark water, unruffled, unreadable. Arima's taunts bounced off him like rain on stone. Then, when the moment was right, Musashi struck, hard, fast, lethal. With a single blow, he killed Arima, ending the duel in an instant. There was no rage, no screaming, no theatrics, just brutal, cold execution. This moment wasn't just a victory over an opponent. It was a victory over the demon of anger. Musashi didn't fight with emotion. He fought with awareness. He fought like death itself, inevitable and unyielding. While Arima was consumed by pride and frustration, Musashi was empty, devoid of the ego that fuels anger. This emptiness, this void, allowed him to see the fight clearly, to move with precision, to strike without hesitation. The story of Musashi and Arima teaches us a critical lesson. Anger is not strength. It's a distraction. It clouds your judgment, narrows your vision, and makes you vulnerable. Arima lost not because Musashi was faster or stronger, but because Musashi was in control. He didn't need to prove himself to the crowd, to Arima, or even to himself. He didn't need to win an argument or defend his honor. He simply needed to win the fight. And he did, because he refused to let anger pull his strings. This lesson applies to every aspect of life. Think about the last time you got angry. Maybe someone cut you off in traffic, or a friend betrayed your trust, or a coworker took credit for your work. In that moment, your anger felt justified, even righteous. But what did it accomplish? Did it solve the problem, or did it make things worse? Did it make you stronger, or did it expose your weaknesses? Anger feels powerful, but it's a lie. True power lies in control and the ability to see the situation clearly, to act deliberately, and to remain untouchable no matter what comes your way. Point 3. The psychology of the blade. Musashi wasn't just a swordsman. He was a student of the mind. His victories weren't solely the result of physical prowess, but of psychological mastery. He understood that the mind is like a blade. When kept sharp, it can cut through anything. But when allowed to rust with emotion, it becomes dull and useless. In his seminal work, The Book of Five Rings, Musashi wrote, "Do nothing which is of no use." Anger, when not channeled correctly, is almost always useless. It's a reflex that feels productive, but rarely is. Consider how anger operates in your life. You might think it helps you win arguments, assert dominance, or stand up for yourself. But does it? When you shout in an argument, do you convince the other person, or do you just make them defensive? When you lash out in a conflict, do you gain respect, or do you give your enemies a reason to smile? They know they've gotten under your skin. They know they've already won. Musashi's approach to combat was rooted in psychological warfare. He didn't just study sword techniques. He studied his opponent's minds. He knew that an angry opponent was a weak opponent. Anger makes you predictable. It narrows your focus, blinds you to opportunities, and exposes your vulnerabilities. By remaining calm, Musashi could read his opponents like an open book. He could see their intentions, anticipate their moves, and exploit their weaknesses, all because he refused to let his own emotions cloud his judgment. This principle is as relevant today as it was in feudal Japan. In any high-stakes situation, whether it's a business negotiation, a personal conflict, or a moment of crisis, your ability to stay calm and clear-headed gives you the upper hand. When you're angry, you're not thinking strategically. You're reacting impulsively. You're playing into your opponent's hands, whether that opponent is a rival, a circumstance, or even your own inner turmoil. To illustrate, let's consider a modern scenario. Imagine you're in a high-pressure meeting, pitching a project to a skeptical client. They interrupt you, question your competence, and dismiss your ideas with a condescending tone. Your instinct is to fire back, to defend your work, to prove them wrong. But what if you don't? What if, like Musashi, you pause, observe, and respond with calculated precision? Instead of arguing, you ask a pointed question that redirects the conversation. Instead of defending, you let their criticism hang in the air, exposing its flaws. By staying calm, you maintain control, not just of yourself, but of the entire room. This is the psychology of the blade. It's about keeping your mind sharp, free from the rust of emotion. It's about recognizing that anger doesn't make you stronger, it makes you weaker. And it's about training yourself to see every challenge, every provocation as an opportunity to hone your mental edge. 4. Why you get angry and why you'll keep losing. Let's make this personal. Why do you get angry? Maybe it's the coworker who undermines you, the friend who betrays you, the stranger who cuts you off in traffic. Maybe it's the unfairness of life, the promotion you didn't get, the recognition you deserve but never receive, the endless obstacles that seem to block your path. Whatever the trigger, the root of your anger is the same. You think you're entitled to control things you were never meant to control. You get angry because you believe the world owes you respect. You think other people should behave the way you want them to. You expect life to be fair, to reward your efforts, to align with your vision of how things should be. But here's the harsh truth. The world doesn't owe you anything. People will disrespect you. Life will be unfair. Obstacles will arise, and no amount of rage will change that. Musashi understood this better than most. He wrote, "You must understand that there is more than one path to the top of the mountain." In other words, stop expecting the world to conform to your desires. Instead, adapt the world as it is. Musashi's life was a testament to this philosophy. He was born into a turbulent era where samurai faced constant danger and betrayal. He didn't grow up in luxury. He slept in the dirt, ate meager meals, and lived with the constant threat of death. Yet he didn't rail against the unfairness of it all. He didn't let anger consume him when rivals mocked him or when life dealt him a bad hand. Instead, he detached himself from the illusion of control. He trained his mind to expect nothing from the world, no comfort, no respect, no fairness. And because he expected nothing, no one could disappoint him, no one could provoke him, no one could break him. This detachment is the key to overcoming anger. When you stop expecting the world to bend to your will, you stop giving it the power to enrage you. When you let go of the belief that you're entitled to respect, you stop feeling disrespected. When you accept that life is inherently unfair, you stop being surprised by its injustices. This doesn't mean you become passive or apathetic. It means you focus your energy on what you can control, your actions, your thoughts, your responses, rather than wasting it on what you can't. Think about the last time you got angry. Maybe someone insulted you and you felt the need to defend your honor. Why? Because you're attached to your ego, to the image you've built of yourself. You think that image needs protecting, that it defines your worth. But Musashi would tell you that this attachment is the root of your suffering. The more you cling to your ego, the more vulnerable you become. The more you need others to validate you, the easier it is for them to control you. True strength lies in letting go of that need and walking through the world with nothing to prove and no one to impress. 5. Training the void. Musashi's practice of emptiness. So how do you kill the demon of anger? How do you become untouchable, like Musashi? The answer lies in training the void, a state of mental and emotional emptiness that allows you to act with clarity and precision, no matter the circumstances. This isn't about suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about training your mind to be a blade, sharp, still, and deadly effective. Musashi's practice of emptiness was rooted in 3 core principles: voluntary, hardship, non-reactivity, and meditation on death. Let's explore each one and how you can apply it to your life. Voluntary hardship. Musashi didn't live a life of comfort. He slept outside, ate sparingly, and avoided the trappings of fame and fortune. He believed that comfort made the mind weak, and a weak mind was easily triggered. By embracing hardship, he stripped away the illusions of entitlement that fuel anger. He didn't need a soft bed, a warm meal, or the approval of others to feel secure. He was secure in himself. You can apply this principle by cutting one comfort from your life. Take cold showers for a month. Give up sugar or caffeine. Delete social media from your phone. Choose something that makes you squirm, something you rely on to feel good. The goal isn't to punish yourself. It's to train your mind to be okay, without external crutches. When you get addicted to discomfort, you realize that most of your anger is just entitlement in disguise. You don't need the world to be a certain way to be at peace. You can find peace in the dirt, in the cold, in the void. Non-reactivity. Musashi was known for his silence. He could go hours, even days, without speaking, especially during training. This wasn't just about discipline. It was about mastering the art of non-reactivity. He trained himself to observe without reacting, to let insults and provocations pass through him like wind through a bamboo grove. This made him unpredictable and untouchable. You can practice non-reactivity in your daily life. The next time someone insults you, pauses, don't reply. Don't defend yourself. Just watch them. Observe their words, their tone, their body language. Notice how your own body reacts, your racing heart, your tightening fists. But don't act on those impulses. Let the moment pass. You'll be amazed at how quickly the power shifts. By refusing to react, you take control of the situation. You become the one who cannot be provoked. Meditation on death. Every morning, Musashi meditated on his own death. He visualized himself falling in battle, his body broken, his life extinguished. This wasn't morbid, it was liberating. By confronting his mortality, he stripped away the fear of loss, failure, or humiliation. As he wrote in the Book of Five Rings, think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. When you accept that you're going to die, that everything you have will one day be gone, the petty triggers of anger lose their power. What's a rude comment or a traffic jam compared to the void of death? You don't need to be a samurai to meditate on death. Start each day by reflecting on your own mortality. Imagine your life ending, not with fear, but with acceptance. Ask yourself, if this were my last day, would I care about this argument? Would I waste my energy on this? Insult? This practice puts everything into perspective. It reminds you that anger is a choice and you can choose to let it go. By embracing voluntary hardship, practicing non-reactivity, and meditating on death, you train your mind to be empty of ego, empty of attachment, empty of anger. This is the void, the state of mental clarity that made Musashi unbeatable. It's not about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming free. Free from the chains of anger, free from the need to control, free to act with precision and purpose. 6. Kill the ego, kill the fire. At its core, anger is ego wearing a mask. You don't get angry because the world is cruel. You get angry because your image is under attack. Someone insults you and you feel the need to defend your pride. Someone betrays you and you feel unseen, disrespected, dismissed. But why does their opinion matter? Why does their approval define your worth? The answer is simple: your ego. Ego is a weakness disguised as importance. The more you feed it, the more fragile you become. The more you crave recognition, the easier it is for others to control you. Musashi understood this better than anyone. He didn't care if people liked him. He didn't care if his name echoed through history. He didn't cling to praise, validation, or status. He wore simple clothes, lived a Spartan life, and walked alone. He was a ghost, a shadow moving through the world, detached from the need for approval. This detachment made him untouchable. When you kill the ego, insults become noise, criticism becomes information, rejection becomes irrelevant, and anger, it dies because there's nothing left to defend. A man with nothing to prove is a man. No one can provoke. Killing the ego isn't easy. It requires brutal honesty with yourself. Ask, why do I need to be right? Why do I need to be respected? Why do I care what this person thinks of me? These questions expose the ego for what it is: a fragile construct that thrives on external validation. The more you feed it, the more power you give to others. The more you starve it, the freer you become. Try this exercise. For 1 week, let go of the need to be seen. Don't post on social media. Don't argue to prove a point. Don't seek praise or validation. When someone criticizes you, thank them for their perspective and move on. When someone disrespects you, let it slide. Not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to know their opinion doesn't define you. This practice will feel uncomfortable, even painful, but it will also reveal how much of your anger is tied to your ego and how liberating it is to let that ego go. Musashi's life was a masterclass in ego destruction. He didn't need to be the best swordsman in Japan. He simply was. He didn't need to prove his worth to anyone. He proved it to himself through his actions. By burning the ego that needed protecting, he became a warrior no one could wound. You can do the same. Stop defending your pride. Stop chasing approval. Stop needing to be seen. When you do, you'll find that the fire of anger has no fuel left. To burn. 7, the final duel, Musashi versus Sasaki Kojiro. Let's end with Musashi's most legendary duel, a clash that encapsulates everything he stood for. In 1612, Musashi faced Sasaki Kojiro, a master swordsman and national celebrity. Kojiro was known for his elegance, his speed, and his deadly technique with the nodachi, a long two-handed sword. He was everything Musashi was not: polished, celebrated, revered. The duel, fought on the island of Ganryu, is one of the most famous in Japanese history. Musashi arrived hours late. This wasn't an accident or a sign of disrespect. It was a calculated move. He wanted Kojiro angry, frustrated, unbalanced. By the time Musashi stepped off his boat, Kojiro was boiling with rage, his composure shattered. Musashi, on the other hand, was calm as a stone. He carried a wooden sword he'd carved from an oar during the boat ride, a deliberate choice to unsettle Kojiro further. The duel was over in moments. Kojiro lunged, his nodachi flashing with deadly precision. Musashi, still uncalculated, struck once. Kojiro fell dead before he hit the ground. Musashi didn't gloat, didn't celebrate, didn't linger. He walked away, his work done. This duel wasn't just a victory of skill. It was a victory of psychology. Musashi used Kojiro's anger against him, turning his opponent's strength into a weakness. While Kojiro was consumed by rage, Musashi was empty, focused, untouchable. This is what anger gets you: a clouded mind, a predictable move, a fatal mistake. And this is what stillness gets you: clarity, precision, power. The story of Musashi and Kojiro is a reminder that anger is a liability. It doesn't make you stronger. It makes you vulnerable. It doesn't help you win. It helps your enemies. By mastering his emotions, Musashi didn't just win a duel. He won a war against the demon within. 8. Musashi's way. The modern code: you don't need to be a samurai to live like Musashi. His way isn't about wielding a sword or fighting duels. It's about mastering your mind, conquering your anger, and becoming untouchable in a world that thrives on provocation. It's about adopting a code of emptiness, detachment, precision, and silence. Here's how to apply Musashi's principles to your life today. Stop reacting, start watching. The next time you feel anger rising, pause. Don't speak, don't act. Don't lash out, just watch. Observe the situation as if you're a scientist studying a specimen. Notice the emotions in your body, the thoughts in your mind, the actions of the other person. By observing without reacting, you break the cycle of anger and reclaim control. Stop expecting, start detaching, let go of the belief that the world owes you anything. People will disrespect you, life will be unfair. Accept this, not with resignation, but with resolve. Focus on what you can control: your actions, your thoughts, your responses, and let go of the rest. Detachment isn't apathy. It's freedom. Stop screaming, start sharpening. Anger is loud, chaotic, wasteful. Instead of screaming, sharpen your mind. Practice discipline in small ways. Wake up early, exercise daily, meditate regularly. Build habits that strengthen your mental edge, so when challenges arise, you're ready to meet them with clarity and precision. Embrace the void. Musashi's ultimate teaching is the way of the warrior, resolute acceptance of death. This doesn't mean you seek death or dwell on it morbidly. It means you accept that everything is temporary: your life, your possessions, your pride. When you no longer fear discomfort, when you stop needing others to act how you want, when you stare death in the face and laugh, there's no anger left. Only stillness. Only power. Conclusion: The warrior's path Miyamoto Musashi wasn't born a legend. He was a man, flawed and human, who faced the same demons we all do. But through discipline, detachment, and relentless self-mastery, he transformed himself into something more, a warrior who could not be broken, provoked, or defeated. His way is not easy. It requires sacrifice, discomfort, and brutal honesty with yourself. But it also offers something rare, true freedom, the demon of anger. Lives in us all. It whispers that we need to fight, to defend, to prove ourselves. But Musashi shows us another path. By cutting the strings of emotion, by killing the ego, by embracing the void, we can become untouchable. We can walk through the fire of life with calm eyes, while others scream in chaos. We can become the warrior no one can provoke. The choice is yours. Feed the demon or slay it. React or watch. Scream or sharpen. The way of the warrior is not a fairy tale, it's a challenge. Take it,